Oh, hello. I didn't see you come in. Welcome. This is the Bitcoin Talk Show. Welcome to my living room. We are broadcasting from Peace News Now Studios in Philadelphia. You can check out my work. I'm Derrick J. Freeman, and I've got a DVD about my life and my activism at victimlesscrimespree.com. I also produce another podcast called Peace News Now. But on today's broadcast, we are live with you talking about how Bitcoin has influenced your life. Peace News Now, my podcast that's been around since 2012, has been 100% funded solely in crypto donations, and it has changed not only my life, but the lives of others who've interacted with this program in the past 2 years. And going forward, we want nothing but crypto. What about you? Has crypto affected your life? I read some... and on today's episode, we've got a special guest with us, Thomas Hunt of Mad Bitcoins. Thanks so much for being with us, Thomas.
Hello, hello.
And you do so much. You do not just Mad Bitcoins, but you're the brain behind the World Crypto Network, a new network of Bitcoin news and entertainment and infotainment. So here we are producing the second episode of Bitcoin Talk Show. You can check out past archives of this show at bitcointalkshow.com or on YouTube at youtube.com/BitcoinTalk. Now, we do take your calls because it is a live interactive call-in show. There's a chat room in YouTube that we'll be checking periodically, as well as our Twitter accounts. You can tweet Mad Bitcoins at Mad Bitcoins, or me, Derrick J. Freeman, at Derrick J. Freeman, and I'll be scanning those periodically as well. We also take calls. The number is Hi-Fi Civdis, spells out 443-424-8347, and we'd like to hear from you. How long have you been using Bitcoin, and how did it come into your life? Was there someone influential who tried to explain it to you, or did you discover it on your own while scanning the internet? Was someone making a donation to you? Did you sell something for Bitcoin? Perhaps you're a business owner looking to use Bitcoin. What are your personal Bitcoin stories? Thomas, I could talk all day about how Bitcoin has impacted my life. I'd like to hear about yours. I never really heard about how you discovered Bitcoin, but it certainly has changed your life in the past few years, hasn't it?
Well, it's a sad and sordid tale because certainly I read the internet every day like most people I know, and in 2010 or whenever Bitcoin was announced, I was a loyal reader of Slashdot. So certainly I heard about it in the rush of news with everyone else, and it blew on by, and I thought about it, and I thought, sure, that sounds great, but obviously it's not there yet. So you file it in the back of your mind, and you don't think about it. A couple years later, you check in again. We have a call?
Yeah, hold that thought. We have a call from a caller on the line. This is Liz Reitzig of NourishingLiberty.com. Hey, how are you, Liz? What's on your mind?
Hi, Derek. I'm great.
Hey, thanks so much for calling in. So what's your personal Bitcoin story?
Well, I got involved with Bitcoin about a year ago, and a very dear friend helped me get set up. And I've been using it and working with it ever since, and reading as much as I can about it.
Now, your blog actually has a special Bitcoin giveaway. Tell us about that.
Well, I recently wrote an article about decentralization and kind of the parallels between what I'm seeing in the Bitcoin community and what I see in the local food community. And it's just intriguing to me to see how these two systems offer so much for a decentralized, grassroots-based power system. And as a part of that, one of the people I work with had this brilliant idea of having the article get shared and posting that we'll have a bit of a Bitcoin giveaway for anyone who shares the article. So it's a little bit of publicizing Bitcoin and showing people how to use it, and at the same time getting the article a little bit more readership.
Awesome! How timely. This is exactly what the Bitcoin community needs, in my opinion, is more people to, in a decentralized way, incentivize their friends, neighbors, and those they care about to learn about Bitcoin and take the time to invest in learning about this wonderful technology so that they can empower themselves in their own lives by using it. So I guess
Absolutely.
you've been using Bitcoin for a little while. Has it increased your freedom in any measurable way?
I feel like it has. It's so easy to use it. And so if there's a transaction I need to do and somebody takes Bitcoin, I prefer that because it's just so easy. I've also helped quite a few of my friends get started setting up their own wallet, and then I show them how to use it by doing a couple of transactions with them. I'll send them some Bitcoin, they can send some back, or I'll send them some more. Something along those lines so they really get it. It's not just abstract for them. It's tangible at that point. They can see how it works and do a transaction and see how easy it is.
Have you ever gotten Bitcoins lost? Have you ever lost Bitcoin somehow?
I have not, no. I've been a little bit careful, and I think that the way it works, you do need to be careful with it, just like cash. I mean, it's no different than having cash or having precious metal that's of a lot of value that you want to make sure you know where it is all the time, keep it secure, and not rely solely on just one thing all the time.
Boy, just terrific comments from Liz Reitzig of NourishingLiberty.com. Go and check out her blog, and if you want some free Bitcoin, maybe you will be the lucky winner over at NourishingLiberty.com. Any other thoughts you want to share with the listeners today, Liz?
Well, looking at it kind of as a future thing, I'm really excited to see that some small farmers have become interested in this and that they are accepting Bitcoin. And I'm looking forward to seeing that component of it being more widespread. I think it'll improve people's access to local food and people's access to Bitcoin and using Bitcoin.
I didn't realize there were already farmers who are using Bitcoin. I had heard anecdotally about farmers markets where people, set up a wallet and accepted them. Are you telling me there are some farmers who accept Bitcoin for the agriculture that they sell?
I don't know them personally, but in my research for that article, I came across several examples.
Boy,
yes.
That is encouraging, and
It is. It's very encouraging, and one of my goals is to work with the farmers I know to get them to start accepting Bitcoin, and then work with some of the local food system networks that I'm involved in, and have it be more of a kind of branching out from there.
What are some of your concerns about the Bitcoin community or technology going forward? Do you have any?
The same concerns that I would have with cash in general. I mean, are you talking about personal holdings of Bitcoin and the potential for loss there, or are you talking about something more broad?
Yeah, so I'm just talking about something more broad. This is a new technology. When electric devices like the telephone came around and were put in people's homes, they feared electrocution. Do you have any concerns about this new technology affecting your life?
Oh, not concerns. I see it as so much potential because Bitcoin is one example of this new technology. The protocol that Bitcoin is written on has so much potential. And as you've probably talked about numerous times, there's other coins that are similar to Bitcoin, and then there's technologies that can be built on top of those technologies that expand our access to communication, to contract, so many different things. I feel like Bitcoin is just the tip of the iceberg there when we're looking at this kind of digital cryptocurrency and the technologies involved there.
Wow, so well put. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts today. The blog is NourishingLiberty.com. Any other thoughts to share, Liz?
No, thanks, Derrick. Thanks for all you do to help spread the word.
Hey, thank you for calling in. Boy, a terrific call from Liz Reitzig. She's such an inspiring food freedom activist who I talk to on a regular basis through my other podcast, Peace News Now. And it's great to hear that the agricultural community is adopting Bitcoin as an alternative method of payment because they're both decentralized sources of value, right? These farmers, anyone can be a farmer, and they can put their hands in the ground and plant food and have produce to sell. Similarly, anyone can become a Bitcoin node and a Bitcoin miner and produce some Bitcoin and trade that value around. So what are your thoughts on that call, Thomas?
I really liked what Liz said about spreading Bitcoin amongst her friends. When she said that they were sitting down and sending small amounts back and forth just for fun, and maybe if you think about sitting around the table at a restaurant and send $1 to your neighbor and have them send it back, and send it to the person across the table, send 50 cents back. And just this idea of that Bitcoin is fun, and that experimenting with new technology and new money like Bitcoin can be fun, and it can be fun for your friends and your family. It's not just an investment.
That's a great point. Yeah, it's not just this weird, I mean, I don't know, introducing some new technology, it's always going to have some awkwardness to it, where people are downloading the app and they're waiting for the download, and it's just sort of, that part isn't fun. But when I do hear people light up is when the sound of that blockchain beep happens when they get their first Bitcoin. They're like, oh, that was kind of cool. I don't know if it's just the auditory thing, or that there's camaraderie among your friends, or you've shared in some experience. I don't know what it really is, but when you're in it together, it's more meaningful. Hey, do you want to share a news story? I've got another Bitcoin ATM that came to...
I just want to say about the beep, that there is just something magical when you get your money or your Bitcoin transferred from wallet to wallet. It's like a video game. And it's not like a video game where I could go into the code and edit the number and change it to, say, $10 instead of $20, or that it could be somehow configured to show fake numbers. If you have $1 in Bitcoin, you have $1. Like your little 00001, whatever you're at, it's there. And then you send 10 over there, and you send 10. It's this magical system that can't be changed or broken, and it doesn't really matter if you understand the math. Just sending around the money makes it fun. And
it's really funny to me, when you're describing it, it sounds so simple. It sounds so, not exciting. It's like, oh, you mean you've got this universal ledger, and when you move the amounts over to this, it stays the same? The code doesn't magically change out of nowhere? I mean, yes, of course, the code stays the same. It's a simple protocol of information being sent here and there. There's nothing too complicated about it, really, once you get the basic premise.
Well, we were talking about when we first got turned on to Bitcoin, and when I first saw it, I saw in the back of my mind, I can remember a demo video where someone sent a little bit of Bitcoin from one computer to another, and it was all command line, and it was a big dirty command prompt, and it just had the amount, and the amount went up. And in the back of my mind, it didn't set me off right then, but in the back of my mind, I was like, that's really amazing. Like that account can be changed, that amount can be passed from one computer to the other, however the math works, however the magic works. Just that little, like, this computer sent value to this computer. Like, that's an amazing idea, just the basic idea of it.
It is such an amazing idea, and what I really can't wait to see are the developments of, like, 2.0, where you've got smart contracts that can live on a blockchain and be, executed at will. That's just, I can't wait to see those.
And digital autonomous corporations that pay for themselves. Websites that pay for their own hosting. I mean,
that's going to be
science fiction.
It is. It's science fiction today, but it's really happening. The fact that we can interview and talk with these people who are really creating this stuff, or even learn it ourselves, that excites the hell out of me. I mean, people were talking on Facebook earlier today and yesterday, so whatever bad things happen, people say, or they get to feeling hopeless. But I'm like, oh my gosh, it is such the coolest time to be alive. You have so much power as an individual living, especially, with access to the internet. If you can learn how to code, or you can learn so many things, and you can change the world in just a matter of months or years. It's so exciting. Anyway, speaking of people who are changing the world, I want to talk about my friends, the Liberty Tellers. They have a company that I believe is Philly-based, because they often attend the Philly Bitcoin meetups, but they are putting their Lamasu Bitcoin machines, which they call Liberty Tellers, all around the country, starting with Boston, of all places. And they started with South Station. It was the first publicly accessible Bitcoin ATM. The other ones were in private establishments. And if you're a 15-year-old kid who wants to make a donation to Free Aid or Sean's Outpost, you can't walk into a bar and go do that. So it's really cool that with a publicly accessible Bitcoin ATM, anyone's going to be able to use this thing. Young kids are going to be able to have savings accounts. I even spoke with Chris Yim of Liberty Teller, and he told me that kids were coming with their parents, and instead of getting their allowance or whatever, they would convert it into Bitcoin. So these kids are now able to invest, have savings accounts, and use alternative currencies. They can even mine their own currencies. I mean, gosh, the potential for kids is just amazing. So, all right, let's get into the story about
And speaking of kids, I've even heard a story where Mrs. P, the Bitcoin wife on Twitter, she was talking about one of her kids, and they had started a Bitcoin savings account maybe last year before Bitcoin took off and got all crazy. And, you know, they get their allowance in there, $5-10 a week, they save it up. Well, this year, because of the increase in Bitcoin's value, they could buy themselves an Xbox. It's amazing for kids. I mean, obviously never happened when I was a kid. I never put $10 in a jar and ended up with a new Nintendo or anything. And it's a lot harder than that. But
yeah,
but apparently kids these days, like.
I was always a saver too. Were you a saver, Thomas?
Well, I would save, but then I would spend. I mean, I put all my quarters in a jar, and then I bought Super Mario Brothers 3.
Well,
And
it
that
was
was
that
the
the
end of
main
that.
thing was those video games were the
Yep, always new video games, computer games, games in the cartridges. Just got to get the new one, and whatever the fad was, magic cards, baseball cards. Whatever I'm into, I'm very much into, and then I move on to the next thing. And books and music all the time, of course.
Right on. Well, in I have bitcoins.com, which is a blog I just discovered like this week, but they're publishing some pretty fun and interesting articles. They write the first Bitcoin ATM in Harvard Square was installed Monday morning in Clover Food Lab, a vegetarian and vegan restaurant chain in Holyoke Street. R. Muir, an MIT graduate and founder of Clover Food Labs, has welcomed the new addition. Harvard Bitcoin Club meetups led to the introduction of the ATM in the area, known for its excellent food and reasonable prices. The Harvard Square flagship of the restaurant also served as a discussion venue for the club members. I'll share this article with you. The story behind the origins of the Harvard Bitcoin Club is as mystifying as the origins of the Bitcoin creator. The group was started by a former student of Harvard Business School who calls himself John Harvard Bitcoin. He funds meetings, reimburses costs of food in bitcoins, and even gives away free bitcoins and Dogecoins to the attendees. The attendees received 0.03 bitcoin, approximately $20, at their last meeting. Chris Yim is the co-founder.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, show up for a meeting and get paid.
$20.
Can't argue with that. The company that installed the ATM, he said, the move was in response to a huge demand for a Bitcoin ATM in Cambridge. According to communications received by John Harvard Bitcoin, Harvard Business School will feature Chris Yim in a Bitcoin panel on March 24th. And you can learn more about that at ihavebitcoins.com or the website for Liberty Tellers, which is libertytellers.com. What do you think about this, Thomas? I see less and less of a need for these Bitcoin ATMs, although I guess I'm totally wrong about that, because every time I see an article about them, there's a long line out the door. So there's clearly demand for these things. It's just not coming from me.
Bitcoin ATMs are the new altcoins. There's going to be thousands of them. And you have to think of it like the new recreational marijuana distribution centers in Colorado. Those aren't for the people of Colorado. The people of Colorado have medicinal marijuana. They might want recreational as well, but what's really happening is that people from other states are coming into Colorado and buying recreational pot. In the same way, people who don't have Bitcoin yet, people who aren't, let's say, from the internet, right? They're from other states. They're not that into internet, but they want to get into Bitcoin. Well, they don't need the internet to get into Bitcoin. They just need a Bitcoin ATM. So these are for them. They're not really for old adapters or even middle adapters like us or whatever you want to call us, but they're for the new people. And they can put $1 in, they can put $5 in, and they can try it out. So I think from their perspective, a $20 investment, $5 left over from dinner investment into Bitcoin, or even just investment into the fun of Bitcoin, like we're talking earlier. Like, these are action figures. They're Hot Wheels cars. We're sending them around. It's fun. You collect a few. It's, it has this collectible, it's on your phone, it's on your computer, it's in your laptop. You move it around, it's your Bitcoin. It's fun, right? So ATMs make it more fun.
I agree. I think it's fun, and I guess you're right. We will be seeing more of these Bitcoin ATMs all around. I really like the Lamasu ones as opposed to the Coin Vault ones that I've seen, and I'm not like sponsored by anyone, so it's not like I've got any special incentive there. Except I do know the Harvey brothers and the people behind Lamasu in New Hampshire, and I just think they're, in addition to being good people, they're smart folks and they're principled. So I don't. My issue is with the palm scan things and the iris scans and the biometric data. Um, if
Well,
I'm
remember the know your customer requirements are just to fight money laundering. And this isn't, I guess it might scare off some smaller Bitcoiners who want to put 20 bucks in, but we're talking about whales with more than $10,000 trying to convert it at one time, that kind of thing. So,
They're not going to use ATMs.
well, no, but especially not if they have palm scanners.
Right. Well, you're talking about big money people. Why wouldn't they want to use an exchange?
Well, it all comes back to like tracking and taxes, and if you have a bunch of money into cash, and you could go to a Bitcoin exchange and convert $9,000 of it into Bitcoin, and it's totally untrackable,
Man, it's
sounds
just
like a pretty
insane.
good deal.
What do you think? If the big money people who have a lot of cash, I mean, I guess they're mafia people or whoever they are, what do they, I guess they've got their own long-term strategy for how to convert this cash into like useful things other than cash. And I don't know. I don't know. If you're a mafia boss and if you're into laundering money, call in.
Experienced in money laundering? Give us a call.
Yeah, in other news, I've got a couple other stories that I wanted to share with the audience today, and I'll just run down the list for you. There's a Temple student down the street here in Philadelphia who contacted me after he released something kind of cool called Drop. And it's at drop.com, drrrop.com. And it's a service that allows musicians to upload content, basically audio content, and charge small fees for the downloads. The one twist that makes this a little different is that he allows for tweets to be used as payment. So 15 tweets could mean that you get you get a download, so you've spread it around and you get to download it. We've got a caller.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hey, what's your experience been with Bitcoin?
It's been good.
Yeah? Good how?
I've been able to purchase some things online that I normally wouldn't be able to.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yep. And one of the comments that I actually just wanted to make by calling in, we're in the process here of rolling out an ATM sort of operation business here in Canada, so we're excited about that. But one thing that has come to me was
Yes?
just the now that Bitcoin is accessible and there's no age limit on Bitcoins, right? The transactions sort of anonymous, we'll say, at least the person on the other end is. So I think it's great that the internet's going to be open and all these websites that you normally wouldn't be able to shop at, you'll have access to. However, it means that sites that you would have normally needed a credit card to go to, you don't need a credit card anymore, which means the websites that you used to need to be of age to shop at, you don't need to be of age anymore. So I'm just wondering how we're going to handle this sort of parental control on Bitcoin, because if a kid gets hold of Bitcoin and he has an internet connection, potentially there's nothing stopping him from shopping at sites and things like that.
It's an excellent point. Any thoughts on that, Thomas?
I think the call makes a great
I'm
point.
interested to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Okay, we're going to share them with you now. Thank you, and I'm going to free up the line. So thank you very much for calling.
It is going to be harder to verify someone's age when anyone can buy anything in Bitcoin. There is obviously an opportunity here where a kid finds a Bitcoin ATM on the street, puts a couple dollars in, goes home to his home computer, and basically could order anything. I don't know what the caller is picturing, perhaps sexual items firearms. I don't know what the kids are into. But yeah, they could order anything. It is going to be a problem, but it's just like cash and anything else. If your kid has a large amount of cash, I'm sure he'll be able to buy whatever he'd like locally with a little help.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that Bitcoin doesn't change the reality that child is a parent's responsibility. And if your child is buying fireworks or other dangerous things online, you should be paying attention to that. It's your responsibility as a parent to watch your child. And yeah, this is a tool that could be used to enhance a child's freedom if you're not paying attention and restricting that freedom, right? Or maybe you trust them. Who knows? I don't have any thoughts on that other than I would trust my child with Bitcoin.
That's a good point, Derrick. That I mean, we're both not parents. It's difficult for us to talk about this, but I believe generally that parents should talk to their children, and they should have honest communication, and they should try to form trust. And this way, you don't have to worry about new money threatening your children.
Right. Now, we did have a call from another caller who I just texted back.
All right, perhaps they can just call back in. We're on a small delay here.
Yeah,
there are some. We're getting some comments from our YouTube chat room.
Fill us in. What's going on over there?
Tone P says, it's nice to actually hear more women talk about Bitcoin. Most women that I know are just like, huh? In reference to
talking
Liz's
about our
caller.
first caller, Liz, right? Yeah, she's very knowledgeable, and she, I mean, there are a lot of women in the Bitcoin community. I don't know why this isn't talked about more, but there's like Babes of Bitcoin up in New Hampshire. There was Michelle Seven, the Bitcoin Belle. There's the Bitcoin Wife, and they're doing sort of something right now, and I don't know.
I think that a lot of this might be talking about the older wave of Bitcoin, when it was just miners and it was very serious math, computer science, miners, libertarians. Maybe it wasn't as open as it's starting to feel right now. It's starting to feel as we go mainstream, we are getting a lot more women.
It's a good point. We have another caller. And caller, you are on the air on BitcoinTalkShow.com.
How are you doing, sir?
Excellent. How are you tonight?
Very well, very well. Well, it's still kind of afternoon here, but...
Excellent. Well, enjoy that sunshine. What's on your mind?
Actually, this is Bryce Winger, and some folks had said they wanted to talk about some of the ATM stuff that we've been doing, so I figured I'd call in and offer that.
Cool, man. Yeah, we
nice to hear from you, Bryce. I follow you on Twitter, so hello.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and Thomas follows you on Twitter. So, yeah, tell us what's going on with ATMs up in New Hampshire.
It's actually not in New Hampshire.
Oh, where is it?
Myself and the developer of Franco Currency are working on taking the new Skyhook Bitcoin ATMs and porting them to be altcoin agnostic.
Oh, yes! Awesome! So that means you're going to be able to put in fiat of any kind and then pump out altcoins of any kind?
That is correct. Well, any that are BIP30 compatible, but yes.
Yeah, you'll have like a list of like ones that are compatible. It won't be just anything under the sun, but that's really cool, man! Oh, thanks for sharing that news. So what are your hopes for this, and where do you hope to put them, and who do you hope will use them, and share your thoughts on this.
One of the things that really stops altcoins from reaching their full potential is the lack of the infrastructure that Bitcoin currently enjoys. And the more open source projects that are released for Bitcoin, the more altcoins can benefit from it. So this is sort of a proof of concept where we're going to take this ATM and take, it's essentially a Raspberry Pi unit. I mean, we've all seen the videos of them.
Right.
And as, since it's an RPi unit, any altcoin daemon that can be run on the RPi can essentially be utilized in that ATM. So really what we're doing is he's going to take a look at it and break it down And then the deal is he's going to publish open source instructions on how to adapt your own altcoin to the Skyhook ATM.
That is so cool. Where can I learn more about this? What's the best website for people to learn more?
Right now, I would only direct folks to the Skyhook website, and I think it's called projectskyhook.com, maybe?
Okay, but if they Google Project Skyhook, they will find it.
Oh, absolutely. And we're not affiliated with the project in any way. We're standing in line like everybody else, waiting for our ATMs. So it's not like, you know, we're with them or anything. But this is something that Franco Currency saw the potential in it for altcoins, and I was like, wow, that's a great idea. So I'm going to be buying actually the ATM for him and then having it shipped directly to him so he can get to work on it.
Wow. So, I mean, our topic here tonight is about how have Bitcoins influenced your life. Sounds like they've influenced your life quite a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
But it's not just Bitcoins. It's the altcoins, too.
We all, right, and that's sort of the thing. Every altcoin developer and everyone who, you know, all of the exchanges that have popped up, you know, there's almost 24 exchanges at this point. And all of the exchanges that have popped up, everyone who is involved with altcoins owes a bit of gratitude to Bitcoin. There's no avoiding it. There's no looking away from it. You can't ignore it. It is simply the truth. You know, we all grow from Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin grows, so do we. And this is sort of a direct application of that philosophy.
What altcoins are you paying close attention to?
All of them right now. Right now, Litecoin is very important, I feel.
Interesting. Any other thoughts you want to share with our listeners today about how Bitcoin has influenced your life?
I would only suggest that the worst position, the worst thing about cryptocurrency is not having any. So even if you just take $100 or $50 and buy a little bit of Bitcoin, just to hold, one of the things that is truly amazing is that everybody has an opinion about Bitcoin, but until you actually own some, until you have bought a miner and invested your blood and sweat, or, you know, even, you know, through extension, invested your blood and sweat in fiat and then purchased Bitcoin, until you have actually have it in your hands and consider how this could actually be used in your life, do you actually get it? Does all the rhetoric and all the mathematics and all the Twitter feeds and all the Reddit stuff actually start to make sense? So the first thing I do whenever I see someone on, you know, I'm a Twitter troll. So the first thing I do whenever I see anyone on Twitter, be it a senator or a CEO or whatever, the first thing I do is I tip them, you know, a millibit. Just here, now you have some. Now you have no excuses. You can try it out for yourself and see exactly what it is we're talking about. And then speak from an educated, experienced position and not just, you know, like an egghead academic philosophical discussion.
Have you had an influence on any politicians by tipping them Bitcoin?
I don't think so. Really, I do it as a joke. I mean, it's a joke with a purpose. You know, it's money, but we don't have to take it seriously. The tipping proves a point, which is simply, if you don't accept the tip, then you're not even looking to really have an opinion, are you?
Ah.
So it's sort of just a declarative statement. It's like almost like a dare.
And
but I don't think I would not presume to think that I have influenced anybody of any importance on anything.
I'm curious, what was your first experience accepting Bitcoin? What was it like for you?
I actually CPU mined a little bit way back in the day and was like, oh, this is neat. And, you know, got involved in some of the philosophical and discussions and whatnot, and it kind of put it on the back burner. And then, you know, last year when things started to pick up, then suddenly you look back and you say, wow, there's 3 years of history behind this now. There's like all of this stuff going on. This is not going to go away anytime soon. People are investing millions of dollars in building real physical equipment to use this. And that was the thing that really got me interested about it. When the whole ASIC thing came out, that completely changed my opinion of Bitcoin. That's when it stopped being a hobby. When people started to produce physical equipment specifically for the Bitcoin network, that's when the game changed forever. That's when Bitcoin said, we're here and we're not leaving.
Oh, I love it. Boy, you have a way with words.
I
Any
really
other
agree
thoughts?
with Bryce. It's the corporate support that came in. It was all the people building on top of each other's work that transformed Bitcoin from something that we took a little look at a few years ago and it was interesting to something that you look at now and you're like, this is going to catch fire. This is everything we've been looking for.
Oh, absolutely. The reason why a year ago, there was maybe, 3, 4 ASIC manufacturers, and now there's a half a dozen. And there's one more new ASIC manufacturer somewhere in the world every month. And the reason for that is that ASICs were released open source. And that created an entire new economic opportunity for small businesses. Bitcoin actually creates jobs.
And there's going to be more with the script ASIC miners coming up soon.
Absolutely. Every time an algorithm goes to ASICs, it creates jobs. All of those companies that are making ASICs today, that are employing all of those people, didn't exist last year.
It's amazing.
That's a good point. Any other thoughts you want to share with our listeners today?
No, just, keep going. It looks like there might be some rough seas ahead, but that's okay. That's what change brings.
All right, fair enough. Thanks so much for your call. Oh, do you have you don't have a website to plug, but you are active on Twitter. Can you give out your Twitter handle for us?
Oh, sure. It's at Bryce Weiner, BryceWeiner.
All right, we look forward to seeing your trolling. Cheers.
You guys are fantastic. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. I'm a fan.
All right, rock on.
Thank you, Bryce.
A very cool call. Man, I'm shaken. That was so enthusiastic. It brought me back to learning about Bitcoin for the first time.
And it's great to hear everyone's stories, that it's not just you or me that didn't see it right away or didn't buy early. Everyone takes a little while before you truly understand what's going on here. You're not stupid not to get it right away. You're with the rest of us. So.
Yeah, even the Western Union CEO. Did you read about this week, Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
Over at CoinDesk, the Western Union CEO, Pete Rizzo, was writing that the CEO there says that the first world's just not ready for Bitcoin. We've got another caller on the line. All right, caller from Oregon, you are on the line on BitcoinTalkShow.com with Thomas Hunt and Derrick J. What's on your mind?
So my name is John Hannes, and I am the founder of Project Skyhook. I was listening in because I heard Thomas tweet out that you guys were streaming live. So after Bryce called, I don't know who Bryce is, but after he called, I thought I should give a call and introduce myself.
Yes, please. So who are you, and what is Project Skyhook?
So Project Skyhook, it's an open source Bitcoin ATM, and we just launched a couple days ago. Basically, anybody who buys a Skyhook, they get access to the private GitHub repository. There's a 6-month countdown timer that started a couple days ago, and at that point, in September, when it expires, all of the source code and everything is going to be released to the general public, and it's going to be commercial free, so they can do whatever they want with it.
Now wait a minute. How do you hold monopoly power over something if you just let all the code open to the public?
That's a really good question. You know, our intent is to absolutely destroy the Bitcoin ATM market, and I apologize to RoboCoin and Lamatsu and everybody else. But Bitcoin is open and fair, and the reason it stays relevant is because of those two properties. So you have to make the services that you build on top have the same attributes.
So this is awesome. I had not heard about this. I'm so glad you called in because while I do like the people who produce Bitcoin ATMs, I would love to see more openness, more code that anyone can access. What do you think the general listener who doesn't yet know how to code but wants to get interested in or wants to help the Bitcoin space, what should they be learning right now?
Oh, I have no idea.
You don't know.
Developers.
Yeah,
no,
nothing that would help you? I mean, who are you hiring?
So we're trying to keep people locally involved. We're also involved with a contact over in Poland and Amsterdam, and we've made contact with a company in Argentina. So wherever, and this is mostly for fabrication stuff, but the development is essentially done. What Bryce was talking about earlier, we encourage everybody to do that. So if they think they can add something, if they think they can add extra functionality or even translation stuff. So we're using crowdin.net for translation. And so if anybody is, bilingual or multilingual, then they can even contribute in that capacity.
Wow, that really sounds pretty open, and anyone can get involved. Sorry if my questions seem a little amateurish or uninformed, but like if I wanted to tinker around with this stuff, you said the code's going to be open. What's it programmed in?
Oh, so basically we have a Raspberry Pi that does all the serving, and then we have HTML5 page that's rendered on the touchscreen device.
Oh.
And everything's communicated through there. So the Raspberry Pi does all the controlling. We have Python drivers controlling the serialized acceptor, and then it's basically serving up all that information on the touchscreen tablet.
That makes sense. Hey, now on today's show, yes?
Yeah.
Go on.
So we tried as much as possible to keep everything interpreted so that even, the low-level, I guess beginners or novice programmers are able to jump in and see right away the changes that they make without having to worry about, having everything be compiled and accessible.
Yeah, I'm having a look on the screen. This is Skyhook prototype first look. Is this still what the machine is looking like today?
Yeah, so that picture was probably taken about a week ago.
Oh, okay, terrific.
This might actually be John himself in the video.
That's a YouTube video, I'm guessing?
Yes, it's a YouTube video.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that was back in November. If you go to projectskyhook.com, you'll get a screenshot right at the top, little image.
Oh, okay, very good. Now, we're on tonight's show, we're discussing our personal stories of how we came to learn about Bitcoin or how it influenced our lives. So, for everyone who's shared their personal story, it's had a pretty major impact, and you're no exception to the rule. So I'd like to know, how did you learn about Bitcoin? Was it something that you initially just got right away, or did it take some warming up? Who introduced it to you, and what happened since?
So I have to credit my introduction to Bitcoin on Steve Gibson from a Security Now podcast. He had a podcast back in February of 2011 talking about Bitcoin, dedicated the whole hour-and-a-half episode to it. And, I watched it when it aired, and I had to sort of sit on it and ruminate for a while. And I think there is a very, valid point, to those who were first introduced to it to think, oh, this is some sort of scam. And, of course, that's a good first impression. But, I kept learning more, and that's where it started. I started mining, and, I'm fortunate I didn't have to actually buy in. But I just put computers to work, and it sort of snowballed from there.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and I hope that we can keep getting updates from projectskyhook.com. I look forward to seeing what else you produce. Any other thoughts you want to share with our listeners today?
Go and sign up for the mailing list if you want to stay informed. When the ordering goes live, right now we're working through months worth of emails for inquiries. So, if you're interested, send us an email or sign up on the mailing list.
Oh, man, that's really cool. Thanks again for calling in.
All right, thanks.
Cheers. Okay, and we will open up the lines so that you can get your personal experience story in. The number is 443-424-8347, or you can Skype us at Bitcoin Talk Show. What are your thoughts on that call, Thomas? Pretty exciting, huh?
I think it's really exciting, and remember, Project Skyhook has a sub $1,000 Bitcoin ATM. It literally is just that little gray box shown in the video, or the box shown on their webpage at projectskyhook.com, and it has a cash reader, I guess a Raspberry Pi, and what looks like an Android device inside there that handles the Bitcoin, and That's it. That's all it takes to have a Bitcoin ATM.
Now, do you know, Thomas, if this... Oh, already said it's going to accept all different kinds of altcoins.
Well, what they said was that Mr. Wiener is purchasing an ATM for Franco Coin, and that Franco Coin is going to attempt to modify the software to accept altcoins.
Oh,
And
okay,
it's
cool.
And the Skyhook CEO just learned about it right here on your show live.
Ah!
And so they're all together now, so presumably they could work together, maybe expedite the shipping, get the ATM there faster, because this is a developer issue. But obviously, again, this is how Bitcoin should work, and this is how altcoin should work. We should work together as a team. We should, everything's good for the altcoins is good for the Bitcoins, and vice versa.
Well, hey, I totally lost track of time, Thomas. I didn't get into any of the articles about the Bitcoin CEO who thinks the first world's just not ready for it. Drop, which people can check out at drrrop.com. It's a cool new site that allows you to sell your music for Bitcoin and tweets. And what was the other story? Oh, about Free Aid that had some of their Bitcoin stolen today. But you can read about that at fr33aid.com. I'm going to have to head over to the Philadelphia Bitcoin Conference. It's happening here today. It happens every week at Bitcoin. BitcoinPHL.com is our website. Totally blanked for a second. BitcoinPHL is our group website, and we have videos about cold storage, how you can learn to do secure cold storage so you don't end up like Free Aid. Ooh, I'm so sorry, guys. And videos of exclusive interviews with other Bitcoin ATM designers like Liberty Tellers, and much, much more. So go and check that out. Thomas, you have several websites. What are they?
WorldCryptoNetwork.com. That's where we are right now. Hopefully new shows every day. If you'd like to have a show on World Crypto Network, make a YouTube video, make your own channel, send it to us. If it's good, you're in. That's all it takes. Everyone should make their own shows. No one here works for Bitcoin officially. We all work for Bitcoin donations and tips. So please donate and tip, and then donate your time. Make something new. Add it to Bitcoin.
That's right, folks. And this show is 100% sponsored in crypto coins. So if you've enjoyed this program, please kick a few Bitcoins or Litecoins or Feather coins our way, and we'll be sure to reinvest it in the show and bring you more exclusive content that hopefully you'll enjoy. We'll keep it interactive, and we're going to leave the show there today. This has been Derrick J. of BitcoinTalkShow.com. Thanks, y'all. Peace.